Hi, I'm Susan Else. I'm speaking to you from my studio in Santa Cruz, California. I've been making collaged and quilted fabric sculpture since 1998, mostly figures. I've always been drawn to vivid color and pattern. Um, and I have done a lot of experimental work in my career. I've added lights, motors, and audio to quilted sculpture. And a lot of my work has incorporated cloth-covered bones, both as a symbol of mortality and of history, um, and kind of an archaeological reference to daily life. I've done many series that have to do with these ideas. And this new series, of which Something to Say, which is in Quilt National this year, is one of the most recent pieces. It's a simpler series because they're simpler figures, but they're on a continuum from those previous ideas. As I've aged and I've watched friends who are often a decade older than I am age, I've realized the kind of fierce determination that it takes to stay engaged with the world as you face the disabilities associated with aging. Not to stop speaking, to stop moving, to remain vital and alive and part of your community takes a great deal of grit and determination. So this series, which is called Still Kicking, and the work to my left was the first piece in that series, it's about all of those issues. And you can see the figure to my left. She may be using a cane, but she's still out there. She's still moving forward. She's looking out at the world and she's engaged with it. So the way I make these figures is that I make a collage of multiple fabrics. I cut it up. I quilt the pieces, I sew the pieces together, I stuff them, and often I will add a wire armature into the stuffed elements. At that point, when I have all the pieces of the figure, if we're just talking about a figure, I have to hand sew all those three-dimensional elements together because you can't put them back in the sewing machine. And at that point, I also hand sew in all the gestures. And the gestures are what bring these figures to life. If the piece in Quilt National, Something to Say, didn't have a gesture like this, the viewer wouldn't realize how much she was advocating for what she had to say. And the gestures really make the figures believable for the viewer. I try to make the collage itself relate to what I'm trying to say with the piece. And so if you look at the red stripe that runs through Something to Say, I feel like that's kind of her spark, her indomitable character, that just will not be silent. I'm so pleased to be in Quilt National this year. This is my third Quilt National, and I'm really thrilled to have been given a Juror's Choice Award by Martha Seelman. Thank you so much.